Hi, this is Aki, and welcome back to the channel. I used to work for the New York City Transit Authority for 33 years. And that time, I experienced a lot of crazy things happening on the subway, from crime to petty stuff. Stuff is now making the mainstream media, but back then, it was all hush, hush. One of these things that was hush, hush was an incident that occurred while I was operating the E-line from 2002 to 2007. This didn't make the news. Should have. It was one of the scariest moments in my life, and it doesn't even count the 12-9s and the assaults. All right, let's get to the story. Well, the E train and the F train, 53rd Street and 63rd Street line, they have the underworld tunnels in those two locations. Occasionally, they had to shut down one track to do repairs on the tracks or maintenance. So one night, they decided to do 2 GOs at once, meaning, which is called general orders. This is what gives people permission to shut down a section of line, track, whatever, to do maintenance or whatever they need to do. This is also used, for drills or, for emergencies in the future. Anyway, so one night they had this double GO. The E train and the F train, both 63rd and 53rd Street tunnels, would have one track shut down between Queens and Manhattan. So all service on both lines would be operating on one track in both directions, north and south. Now, we don't use railroad geography. Otherwise, that would be east and west. But, New York City Transit don't believe in railroading, so it's just north and south. So just in case you thought that was a mistake or something, no, that's what they say. So, on my last trip from World Trade Center, I get to the tunnel. I had to cross over from the Queens-bound side to the Manhattan-bound side, which is either way, northbound track to the southbound track, go into the underworld tunnel, wrong rail, all the way up to the next stop. This is from Lexington to 23rd Eli. So, from Eli, we cross back before we get into the station. Now, the F has to do the same thing between Lexington Avenue and Roosevelt Island. They have a switch in that area. So, what happens next, we're still not sure, but apparently a tower operator made a mistake on the F line. How did I know there was a mistake on the F line? So how do you know there was a mistake on the F line? Simple. While I'm wrong railing, I hear radio traffic of course, on the radio. I'm listening to it while paying attention, going northbound and southbound track. And one train operator is communicating with the control center. And they said, I see headlights. The hairs on my back stood up like you wouldn't believe. What did he mean by he see headlights? Well, unfortunately, for those who are not familiar with that phrase, it means you're supposed to be in an unoccupied track, and all of a sudden you see the lights of another train coming towards you on the same track. That is not good. So somehow a tower operator made a mistake, put 2 trains, a northbound and southbound train, on a head-on collision. And if it wasn't for quick thinking of both operators and the timers, or whatever it was that slowed them down, they would have had a collision. Apparently, the safety device on the 63rd Street line did not stop these 2 trains from being on the same track. Meanwhile, here I am, wrong railing on the 53rd Street line. The F is on the 63rd. Wrong railing, I'm hearing this, and I'm like, oh shit. Now I gotta focus more, start slowing the train down, start looking, see if I see headlights. Because if they made a mistake over there, how do I know they didn't make a mistake over here? Slow down, looked, didn't see anything, slow down around the curb, because on the curb is the worst place to be, because if you don't see that other train, well, you know what's going to happen. Luckily, there was no other train. I was able to get into 2030 live. So I know a lot of people went downtown for that one. Because you got two trains on the same track. Even though they didn't collide, it's still considered a collision. One of these trains had to back up. So that's also an inconvenience for the passengers on that train. Because they're trying to get to where they're going, and all of a sudden the train can't move because... And I'm not sure they knew that the train was, almost heading for a collision. And this is not the first time this happened on this particular section of line. Back in 1986, we almost had a collision between two trains on the 53rd Street line. That day, the Mets were having a parade in their honor in Queens. Had the trains had collided, the Mets would have lost their headline. But luckily, nothing happened. Again, both operators spotted each other and stopped. So that's why I was concerned about my situation. Was there a mistake and I'm heading for a collision with another train? Slowed down, checked around the curb, didn't see no other train. I proceeded back to normal. No further incident. But like I said, the other people had to go downtown because they had to explain why two F trains almost collided. And probably the reason why people didn't know is because since we're not operating those 32s on the F, it was the 46s, they couldn't see anyway. So that's about it. The almost collision that almost never happened. Or did it? Anyway, this is Alcan saying so long for now. Don't forget to stop. Scary.